Okay, welcome to another #Real Talk podcast where we bring you inspiring, motivating and empowering content to take your life to the next level. Obviously, every week with my guest here, Gary Edwards, we do a GenInvest takeover where we bring you content which is very much about raising your financial IQ, raising your financial awareness, so you can be one day financially secure, if not financially free. So I was thinking about a concept, okay, that I wanted to talk about with Gary, and I'll get Gary to introduce himself in case you haven't met him before, which is very much about places like this, car financing. Okay, so Gary, before we get into the video, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yes, my company, Keep On Squirreling, has the financial education program for primary schools where we teach children how to manage money in fun and engaging ways.
Okay, so what Gary does is make what seems complex incredibly simple, and the reason we ask him onto the show every week, okay, is that we want to make finance not this complicated thing, but actually becoming financially free is actually quite simple. It's actually literally very, very simple. So we're going to talk about car financing today, and the reason I say that is when I started to look at some of the facts, guys, is last year worldwide, okay, we had 10 million car sales. 10 million car sales. In the UK alone, there was 2.4 million cars sold in the UK. Now, what is interesting is that the finance for these cars has shot through the roof. It was at record levels in 2018. I think they were saying something like in the region of like 10 billion is now the total amount in terms of car leasing. So huge amounts of actually debt is out there. One of the things that they say, the average car now in terms of debt is about 20,000, which would equate to, when you look at the average salary of the UK, is about 10 months of someone's salary. So that's like not paying any other bills. If you took all your wages, it would take you 10 months to pay off the average car. Now that's the level of debt people are getting into. Now, Gary, the reason I wanted to say that is that I don't think that having a car is bad. I think if you've got aspirations, you work really hard, why not treat yourself? You've got to spend your money on something, okay? But what do you think about places like this, Motorpoint and car hypermarkets? Because the reason I say this is that car companies know that you want a car. And what they've done, they've made the finance packaging so attractive that makes you think, I can do this. Even if you're on 15 grand a year, 20 grand a year, you could be driving around like in a BMW. You couldn't have done that 15 years ago. You had to be a high roller to, to drive around some of these cars. Now everybody's driving around these cars now. So what they've done, they've made the finance packaging so enticing that these people are jumping into obviously these contracts. Now I'm not knocking it. Once again, it's good that things are becoming more affordable. I like that. But what do you think about car financing and things like that? What are your thoughts?
I think the challenge or the issue is really is the debt and the struggle and the stress that it causes, because now finance can be given to people who clearly cannot afford it, or who cannot manage money, or have a history of being able to manage money. So if they've got poor money habits now, they're going to have that moving forward. So if they're not putting aside £400 a month now, and then they go for a car finance, what they're saying is, well, I'm hoping that I can pay £400 each month for the next so many years. But if you're not showing that you can already do that, so that's the challenge there. Because the key thing is, and we spoke about this before, is with financing, is if you have no money put aside for security, emergency savings, if you lost your job or something happened, could you keep paying that £300-400 each month, or whatever it may be, for 6 to 9 months? And if you couldn't, you've answered your own question. And that's the real challenge, the issue. Now, we understand that there's people in scenarios where they can do that. But the challenge where I see from is how it affects the home and how it just adds on to more outgoing, more expenditure, and more stress.
So one of the things you're probably alluding to then, Gaz, is that what would be advisable is to say, try and get a car that maybe not brand new, all right? And I remember this, if I'm being honest, if anyone knows me, for years, even though I was earning, decent amount of money, I was driving a Nissan Almera, a 53 reg, so it was probably like 10, 12 years old, and everybody would rid me and say, why are you driving this car? And what was worse, when I said I was going to change my car, I went from a green one to a red one. So everyone thought I was going to get a BMW or something like that. But I said in those times when I was earning a lot of money, I would rather invest it in properties and things like that, invest it in myself, I think that's really important, rather than buy a car. So what I did, I just went out and bought a car for like £1,000 and things like that, and had delayed gratification. Would you advise something like that for, especially like, you know, you're teaching kids and things like that?
The way we are with the children, we're really equipping them in terms of preparing for the forward that if you can't buy it now, don't buy it. If you don't have the money, then don't buy it. So, you know, if you're a family and, you know, financially, you know it wouldn't be a good choice to be signed up for more finance or more debt, then start off as small as you can for now. Put some money aside, school, you know, that money aside and prepare, build up for it. It doesn't have to be forever, but it has to be, you have to be wise, because you can't afford it right now. Don't make that decision. Get caught up in finance.
That makes sense.
Payments.
And the thing is, obviously, there's two types of payments as well. And when you go into places like this, you know, you have got the PCPs, which is basically you're leasing the car. So you never really own the car. You pay so much a month, and they keep the options down to make it even more attractive. But then you also have like normal, you know, getting out a loan and paying for the car with a loan. What would you suggest personally? I know we're not financial advisors, you know, so do your own research, you know, have a look out there. But just in our, I'll give you my opinion. But what would you think? You know, so if you were going to buy a car, would you look at a loan, personal loan from a bank and things like that, or would you look at one of these PCP contracts, financial contracts?
Yeah, if I was really going down that route, first of all, I'd be making sure that, you know, if anything happened, I could afford, had the means to be able to pay it off, exit it, or whatever, you know, I was going to do. You need to look at the front end figures, you need to look at the exit figures, the back end figures, and I'd say just look at the rates, front end and back end. But again, I'd be looking at, you know, if there's an issue, do you have the means to be able to pay it off? But I'd be looking at all figures, front end, back end, exit fees. You know, how easy can you come out of something if there's an issue? That's what I'd be saying.
And that's the thing. Look at the small print. It's a good thing that Gary's saying is that what looks really attractive up front, back end, might mean that you're paying a lot of money. You know, in the main, you tend to find that personal finance, you know, if your credit is good, it would be a better option. What you'll find is that your APRs are lower and things like that. But once again, do your research yourself. You know, we're not financial advisors. What we're trying to do is just prompt you to think about what you should be doing and things like that. And this is one of the key things that gets a lot of people into a lot of trouble. Now, what we're going to do, guys, we're going to get Gary into a car and let's see if we can get him tempted. He's got his eye on a nice little Mercedes, so let's go and have a look at that and see what he thinks, see if he changes his mind when we're in the car.
Yes, and you know, we have got to say as well, you know, are there any benefits for maybe some people going for the lease or whichever? And the key thing I would look at there, you've often talked about, you know, an asset that pays for the vehicle. So if you have asset, maybe properties or whatever, and that's cash flow X amount a month, for example, does that cash flow then cover the monthly payment on one of these finance cars, for example?
That's my philosophy.
The capital, I know that's very much your philosophy. Or, you know, I know some of the companies, you know, for tax purposes, it may be pretty cool to go down that route. But again, even for a business or tax purpose, make sure that if you have issues with the business, that you have the means still to pay for that if it all goes wrong.
Brilliant. Love that, guys. So let's go jump into the Mercedes and see if Gary's still got that after he's been tempted. Okay, so we're sitting in what is probably my dream car. Love this car, the Mercedes SLA. And I can understand the temptation. You sit in it, and once you start sitting in it, you smell the leather, the new car feel, and things like that. And obviously, you know, you're looking at the payments, I can afford that. But what would you say to people, you know, who are tempted, you know, especially a car at this level and things like that, when people are saying, no, you know, wait, save? What would be your advice for anyone who's coming and looking at cars like this and tempted to take out that finance?
First of all, there's no doubt this is a sexy car.
It's a beautiful car, right?
You think about taking out your wifey, this is a sexy car, no doubt about that. But what I would say is, you know, you got to be wise. Now, yes, you can see the payments. You go, I can afford the £300 a month. That may be the situation right now. But you cannot guarantee that in the future. So the key thing is if things were to go wrong, or if you was to lose your job or various things, do you have the means to be able to continue paying that monthly amount? That's the challenge. Do you have the emergency savings? Do you have that backup money? And if you do, then if you choose to go something like a lease rental option of a car, then that's your choice. But the issue is, can you continue paying that amount no matter what?
And I think that's a really good point, because recently in the news, I'm not too sure when you'll watch this, but recently, as of today, Honda has talked about moving probably potentially 3,000 jobs away from Swindon. So those people may have had a car on finance, and you're thinking, that whole economy around there is going to be affected. You're not going to know when you can get a job. So it is about being mindful that, yes, okay, you've got payments now whilst you're working, but what would happen if you did lose your job? Is that going to be a burden, or is that still going to be a blessing? You know what I mean? So I know it's definitely one of the things I would say is that if you can buy assets, and then look to, have the assets pay for a car, that'd be the wise thing, because this car's probably worth about £25,000.
Yep, 23 something. Yes.
Yeah, 23,000. Now that is a property. So when you start to look at things like that, so we're not saying not to get a car on finance. Sometimes you have to, and we understand that for your work or your family and stuff like that. But just be mindful, I would say, is don't get tempted by the big things, because there's cars that are financed £110.
Yes.
Well, even on a,
And that's the thing, is that you can come in, it looks very shiny.
Yeah.
But you've got to realise not everything that glistens is gold.
Gold.
It may look wonderful right now, but once those payments come in, month in, month out, at £300-400 a month, or even more that we're seeing some young people pay. The question again, asking yourself is if you lost your job or something happened, do you have that 6 to 9 months put aside where you could keep paying that £300-400 a month? Do you have the means to pay for it?
And that's the key thing. So listen, have these aspirations. I'm sitting here, I'm inspired. I really am. I'm seeing the sunroof.
Yes.
I'm seeing all these things. I'm inspired. I can see myself in this and driving at night with all the lights on and everything like that. But then I'm also very mindful that I don't want to be laden down with debt, that I'm working to pay a debt.
That's the key thing, isn't it? You don't want to be just adding on liabilities. You don't want to be adding on expenditure and outgoings, where it brings a burden to the family home, where it then starts affecting the family unit, and then husband and wife then arguing now, and it's affecting the children. It's not worth that cost. Not at that cost. It's just not worth it. If you have to go out, buy a car for a couple of £1,000, £2,000, that will cover you, so you can put money aside to get what you want.
100%.
The key thing is it's not worth creating the stress for something which looks wonderful for a moment and maybe wonderful for so many months. But I guarantee you that after 9 months, after a year, having to keep paying at that £300-400 a month, it's not going to be as sexy.
And the thing is, you've seen it. We've all had it. We've been in the car. In 6 months, McDonald's wrappers are here. You haven't cleaned it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and things like that. So the buzz of the new thing does go. But then you're still battling with having the cost of that car per month. So just be mindful of that and what you're doing in those things.
Sure. Yes.
Good. Okay, thank you for joining us for this podcast. Once again, please subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, and obviously YouTube, GenHopeTV, or hashtag Real Talk, and you'll be able to find us. And obviously Gary will be with us every week, bringing out financial understanding, financial management. Now, for anyone obviously who comments first on this video, let us know what you think. Has this helped? Does this trigger a thought for yourself or something that you really believe in? If you leave a comment, there's a free financial ebook that you can download from the website. First person to do that, we'll send you that for free. Gary, is anything that you would want to say before we close?
We target primary schools teaching children how to manage money. So if you're a head teacher within education, do go onto the Keep On Schooling website. Our social media links there, our contact details are there, and we can come out and give a presentation at one of the head teacher events.
Brilliant. Guys, remember, subscribe, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.